Scooters, scooters, scooters. Rentable dockless electric scooters, to be exact. Hundreds of them began popping up here in San Francisco streets this spring. And these transportation share gadgets are meant to be lighter, zippier options to bike share bikes.
We're trying to make sure we solve that first and last mile problem. In the case of scooters, sometimes it's in something where it's 10 blocks and it's really quick. So here you're seeing the main interface of the app to see where there are scooters and different types of vehicles around. If I hit unlock and if I go up to one of my vehicles and go ahead and scan here, you'll see that it's now moving to unlock.
San Francisco is not alone in seeing its streets flooded with these scooters. Lime Bike, Bird, and Waybot have launched in places like Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, and Austin, Texas. But all of these new scooter share scooters do work about the same. Brake on the left, throttle on the right, which is capped at just under 15 miles per hour, and all the companies pick up their scooters nightly for charging and maintenance. The cost for riders among the different scooters is an identical $1 to unlock, with an additional 15 cents a minute for the duration of the trip. Now that's more expensive than most bike shares, but of course there's no pedaling required, which evidently appeals to commuters.
What we found really resonated with the consumers with electric scooters is really the ease of use. The fact that you don't have to break a sweat.
San Francisco-based Spin, which began as a bike share company, decided to get into the scooter game first in its hometown.
It was just a slight tweak on the business idea and the product offering, in very much the same way that when Uber started out, it was a black car service.
We've already done 90,000 miles in the city of San Francisco.
Now, though people have been renting and rolling in surprisingly large numbers, the launch of these devices hasn't been all smooth scooting. Complaints have poured in about riders leaving the dockless scooters in the middle of sidewalks after trips are over, creating eyesores and hazards in high-trafficked areas of cities. And this is all happening while San Francisco and Austin city officials say the scooter companies launched onto their streets without permission.
These companies who, as per usual or too often, want to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Now, the good news for the scooter companies and their fans is that those cities are scrambling to put regulation and permitting processes into place that would hope to curb some of the bad parking practices without outlawing the scooters outright. Now, meanwhile, in D.C., where scooter shares are operating under the same months-long demonstration the district has sanctioned for bike shares, it's still to be determined whether permanent permitting will be issued for the vehicles after the trial phase is finished. Of course, all these companies claim to want to work with cities to come up with best practices and regulations that make the most sense, including, maybe one day, marking out some specific sidewalk parking spaces or even turning over some street-side car parking for the smaller footprinted scooter share vehicles.
Who knows?
Bird says it's setting aside $1 per vehicle rented per day to give back to the cities it's operating in for the development of these kinds of things. So, municipal nightmare or the cutting edge of short-leg transportation. The scooter companies that have landed in San Fran and elsewhere in recent months are definitely eyeing more cities across the country for launches to come, so you'll want to keep an eye on the trends so you'll be ready when it cruises into a city near you.